Okay. All right. So this is the Lightwalker's Path, and I'm Rosemary DiTrolio, your host and guide. And I would like to talk about a fascinating guest that I have today, Barry Bevier, holistic health mentor, author, speaker, and host of a mindful longevity show. And soon to be getting out there more so you can see all the great work that he does. He has a master's degree in civil engineering, and he has had a very interesting life for the past 15 years, focusing on autoimmune, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and other neurological changes and how we can help them through healthy diet and lifestyle. So welcome to my show. How are you today?
Thank you, Rosemary. I'm doing awesome. It's been a fabulous Friday so far.
It has been. It's a cold and chilly one in New Jersey here.
Oh, it's about 40 here. We have 4 to 8 inches of snow in the forecast for
Oh,
tomorrow here in central South Carolina.
isn't that, it's so crazy. It's 16 degrees here, 20 below wind chill. I've heard later in the day, but we'll see. It's a crazy cool New Jersey day today. So I wanted to ask you about some of the interesting things you're doing and studying in the ways of like brain health and longevity. So what are some of the like cornerstones of what you've learned about keeping your brain young and keeping active at our age?
Well, as I made the switch from engineering into natural wellness, it was to satisfy my curiosity about being able to live a healthy life without pharmaceuticals.
Mm-hmm.
My wife passed away when she was 46. She had lupus, and 20 years of pharmaceuticals did a lot of damage to her liver and kidneys. And at the
Mm-hmm.
time, we didn't know about natural
Yeah.
ways to keep our body healthy. This was 25 years ago. So I just started uh, uh, digging into natural wellness, the truth about cancer videos, and learning about good nutrition and what it really is. And that just developed into becoming more aware of our brain being the control center of our body. And
Mm-hmm.
nobody thinks about taking care of their brain. I mean, who wakes up in the morning and says, "What am I going to do to keep my brain healthy today?"
Sure,
Not
sure.
too many people. And so, about the time I became very interested in learning more about that, I found out about Dr. Daniel Amen,
Mm-hmm.
and I took a program that he did in conjunction with Joseph McClendon III, who is a neuropsychologist, called Brain Revolution. So I
Mm-hmm.
studied with Dr. Amen for about a year, and learned about the different parts of the brain that have different functions and what it takes to keep them healthy, and the protocols that he uses to heal his patient's brain.
I've read a lot about Dr. Amen and how he also does like these brain scans. So was that part of the information that you had gleaned from him, or is it simply other things? Because I know he talks a lot about supplements and about learning and neuroplasticity and things like that. So what was the focus of your study with him?
My focus was the tools or the modalities that he uses to heal the brain. Because if he can use it to heal the brain, then I can help people to keep their brain healthy. Or, if they've been diagnosed with
Oh, you just froze.
a mental
Yeah,
disorder or a brain trauma, we can apply those natural healthy modalities.
that's wonderful.
And
Are there certain ones that you follow yourself after learning the information?
yes.
Okay.
I think, well, I mean, it's toxins are one of the biggest causes of memory loss, dementia, Alzheimer's as we get older.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I was aware of toxins. I'm more aware now. I'm more conscious of the
Mm-hmm.
products, the personal care products I
Mm-hmm.
use, products I use around my house, the
Mm-hmm.
toxins that are in food. I've always eaten pretty clean with a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables and organic as much as possible for the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've stepped that up. Sleep is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
Getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was a little lacking there.
Mm-hmm.
Hydration is very important. I think most people that I know are chronically dehydrated.
Yes. Yes.
And so making sure I get enough good, clean water every day with electrolytes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then just keeping tabs of my diet, omega-3 fatty acids, either through food or supplements, are very important. And so I supplement there, supplements that are good for your brain, D3, I mean, D3
Mm-hmm.
with K2.
T3.
Uh,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking about the omega-3. Today, for breakfast, I had a scrambled egg with capers and salmon. And normally, I'm not a salmon fan, but but I wrapped it all in a spinach wrap, and I had that for breakfast. But the omega-3s and the fish oils are so great for you. But
that's
some things
that's
are
a
good, like salmon, but it's like I don't like the taste too much.
And that's a very healthy breakfast. I
Yeah.
mean, starting our days with carbohydrates, cereal with sugar in it is not the way to
No,
go, especially for kids. There should be
that's
some
right.
protein and healthy fats
Yes, yes.
in
Avocados are great.
our
Yes,
breakfast. Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't recommend this for teens or younger people,
Mm-hmm.
but I grew up on a farm. Big breakfast was the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I've gotten away from that as an adult and more aware of our health by I intermittent fast. So
Mm-hmm.
my first meal of the day is usually after 1 p.m.
Okay.
And it's either got eggs and some leafy greens, a scrambled or
Mm-hmm.
an omelet or a protein shake with
Mm-hmm.
greens and fruits and protein powder. Uh,
Yeah.
so
What
yeah,
state did
we
where
need
did
that
you grow
protein
up? What state did you grow up? You said you grew up on a farm. What state
in
did you grow up in?
Michigan.
Oh, you were in Michigan. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious because I didn't ask you that last time. Yeah, I know that a lot of the things that we do, we don't even realize. Like, we were told years ago cereal, but I grew up where my mom was very healthy. She cooked all our meals. So I grew up with the idea of even though that was in the news, that isn't how we're eating. So I was really lucky that mom showed us like how to cook and the good foods to eat as I was growing up, because I think it keeps you younger and more healthy and vibrant at a certain age.
Oh, it
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And one of the things I've been focusing with my mentoring on brain health more on the middle-aged to older people because that's
Mhm.
when the process is starting.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm really now thinking it's more important to get this message out to teens and young adults and
Yeah.
for parents so they can work together. I mean, the way our brain develops, our prefrontal cortex, which is our executive decision making part of the brain, doesn't develop until at least 25 in women and 28 in men. So
Mhm.
it's no wonder teens, kids do stupid things
Yeah.
and misbehave. It's not because they choose to, it's because their brain doesn't allow them to make the right decisions.
Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely true. And I think too, how you treat your body up to the age of like 40 will really set the path for the next section of your life because I've seen a lot of people that are younger than me and look like they've been through the war, the weight and the skin and just they look so unhealthy. But I also look at what's their diet, what's their lifestyle? Are they drinking and using or what are they doing with their
Right,
life that
right.
they think they're getting away with that's going to hit up, just 10 years down the road, you're going to feel it. So I often have looked at, choices people make early. It does affect the rest of your
It
life.
it is important. And
Yeah.
there's no silver bullet in all of this. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I was 74 a week ago.
Hmm.
And I honestly don't feel much different than I think I did when I was 50.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and but there's several factors. I mean, I think I have good genetics as far as aging
Mm-hmm.
goes from both my
Yeah.
mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've always eaten what we thought was healthy, and now we know some of
Mm-hmm.
those things weren't.
Yeah.
Um, and I've never let my weight get out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't smoked or drank heavily or done drugs, recreational or pharmaceutical.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's just a combination. And then the last, 10 years, I've really changed based on what we have learned about what is healthy for us.
That's beautiful. Are you okay? As far as doing things that are active, do you walk? Do you do other kinds of activity to keep you physically active?
I do. I have arthritis in my knees, so it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
bother me on a day-to-day basis, but my
Mm-hmm.
exercise is a little bit, I just beat the cartilage out of my knees with sports. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I have a Labrador Retriever, so
Oh yeah,
we walk every day. I
yeah.
recently bought a rebounder, a mini
Oh
trampoline,
yes, those are great.
and even 5 minutes on that is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
they're a workout,
Oh
and
yeah,
get your pulse up. It helps with your lymphatic drainage system, which is
yes,
how we get all of the toxins out of part of how we get all the
yeah.
toxins out of our body. So I walk, I lift weights a little bit. Vibration is really good for health, and so I
Mm-hmm.
have a Life Pro
I know what that
vibration
is.
plate
Yeah.
that I can do exercises on, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a gym membership, and so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I exercise not as much as I should, but I'm
Well, as
conscious
much
of
as
it.
you want to, as much as
So
you
yeah,
can, you know.
yeah,
I
we have
think,
to keep we have
yeah.
to keep active. Yeah.
And I also think that in life, it's not about the should as much as the enjoyment from doing it too. So I find that I was doing CrossFit like 2 years ago, and it
Mhm.
was very intense. I was doing it 4 or 5 days a week, and I was 30 and 40 year olds, and it was
Yeah.
knocking the tough stuffings out of me. I actually wound up gaining weight, and because the cortisol would go up. So I think at a certain age too, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to walk and do things more gentle for my body at this point and enjoy what I'm doing rather than just going to the wall there with crazy stuff that you do when you're younger. And I
Right.
think
And
that's kind of the ticket.
moderate exercise, especially as we get older, is good. It is adequate. I mean, half an hour, 5 days a week is the
Hmm.
minimum, and that can be, walking, brisk walking, bicycling. I like to bicycle,
Hmm.
um, and getting out in the forest and hiking, and being out in nature is really
Oh, I love
good
that.
as well. Uh,
Yes.
Another thing I've been doing for the past few years is earthing or grounding.
Yes, I do that. Yeah.
And so when the weather permits, I will, go out in the yard and play with my dog for a while, play
Yeah.
fetch barefooted,
Yeah.
and get the all the ions from the earth,
That's
the
awesome.
electrons. And then I also have an earthing mattress pad.
I was going to ask you that. I have one as well. And I also even have an earthing mat that I can plug in and use it like under my computer, like on my feet when I'm sitting.
That's yeah,
And that's another way to just have that connection. But I love the grounding because I do that a lot
right,
myself.
right.
It's
And
really healthy.
when I got the grounding mattress, I noticed an almost immediate effect. I mean, within a day or two, uh,
Mm,
waking up more refreshed with more energy, which means I was sleeping more soundly. And
yes.
getting a pad for me to put my feet on when I'm working. I'm going to get one for my dog as well, I think, that he can
Yeah.
lay on.
Yeah, that's true. I have a dog too, so I get it. The other
Yeah.
thing that I learned, I took a Feng Shui class with one of my friends. She's a Feng Shui. I think she's a grand something or other
Mhm.
master. But she was saying when you're sleeping, don't have your head south. And I notice my head is south in my bedroom because I have a lot of windows. So I position my bed in a way where the
Mhm.
only way I can go is south. But you don't sleep as well when your head is south. I'm like, that's interesting because my dog always turns when she's on the bed. She always sleeps with her head north, which is very interesting, I thought, because she knows automatically they know which way they're getting the best
Yeah.
energy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's interesting. I was not aware of that. I know there, the feng
Hmm.
shui, but I wasn't aware you shouldn't sleep with your head south. Let's see, mine is
Right.
kind of to the west, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe that's a little better, but I know south is not good. And I'm like that makes a lot of sense because, you watch an animal, like dogs will always go where the energy feels best for them. And
right.
she never puts her head toward the way that ours is. She's always flipped toward north. So I
Yeah,
thought that was interesting.
that's interesting. If I can
Yeah.
just go back for a moment because I think people will be interested in this. You mentioned the scan that Dr. Amen does.
Yes, yes.
And he does a specific scan. It's called SPECT, SPECT. That's an acronym. I never
Mm-hmm.
remember all the words in it. Uh, and he started his career. Well, he served in the Army during Vietnam, and he
Mm-hmm.
was an imaging specialist, so probably doing X-rays. And
Yeah.
when he got out and started his psychiatric practice, he realized that psychiatrists, people that study the brain, were about the only medical professional that didn't use some sort of imaging in their
Mm-hmm.
practice. And so he sought out, decided the SPECT was the best. And so after doing a few hundred or maybe several hundred of these SPECT scans on his patients as they came in,
Mm-hmm.
he recognized that the patient who was had been taking pharmaceutical drugs for a long time, but did not drink or smoke or do recreational drugs, had a brain scan that looked very, very similar to an alcoholic's brain or a drug addict's brain.
Wow.
And he said, what are we doing? We're supposed to be
Yeah.
healing the brain and
Oh my
we're
goodness.
damaging it with these pharmaceuticals. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how he got on the path of, natural ways to
Mm-hmm.
heal the brain and keep it healthy. And
Mm.
so he does use pharmaceuticals from time to time, but not as the primary
Right.
resource.
Yeah. Do you know if I know he was doing brain scans in Texas. Do you know if he does them anywhere else in the US or do you
he,
know? I'm just
yes,
curious because I
yes,
thought that was so interesting.
he has 11 clinics throughout the US
Okay.
and they do the spec scan at all of them.
That's interesting. Do
Yeah.
you know if it's anything, is it covered under insurance or you wouldn't know?
Typically, I don't believe it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious because I
Yeah.
think that is so interesting, especially given the fact how much pharmaceuticals are given to people for all
Hmm.
kinds of conditions without regard for if it's really necessary. I know sometimes it's like hit or miss. They'll say, well, take this and see what happens. To me, you're kind of playing
Ex-
Russian roulette with someone's
oh,
psyche.
exactly. And,
Yeah.
I've got personal experience with that. My mom suffered from depression uh, periodically most of her life.
Okay.
And there was this is many years ago after my father passed away. She's living alone, winter sets in Minnesota, and she got very depressed.
Yeah.
And the psychiatrist got her on one drug, and it made things much worse.
Mm.
And the thing with drugs that are used with psychiatry is, like most drugs, you shouldn't just start and stop all of a sudden.
Mm.
You
Right.
ramp up with the
To wean
dosage.
off it.
So
Yeah.
she ramped up on the wrong drug,
Oh,
got worse, and then had to ramp off before they could ramp her onto a different drug.
yeah.
And it was not a fun experience.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh. Yeah.
and so I learned, and that was another reason why I got into what I'm doing, realizing that this pharmaceuticals are not,
Mm.
they've got too many side effects,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
most of the time there's ways to take care of whatever our ailment is in it with natural remedies.
Natural way. I
Yeah.
was also interested to read that you are also studying or working with My Shroom, which is a company that does pharmaceutical mushrooms like reishi and some of those other ones that are great. So, are you? just starting with that, or what have you learned from learning about the natural benefits of mushroom?
Um, I've known the founder and scientist behind my shroom for about
Mm-hmm.
10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I started working close with them a little over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they are, I believe they're unique. I've looked around a little bit. I, after working with them, divide the mushrooms out there as like supplemental quality
Mm-hmm.
and nutraceutical or medicinal quality.
Mm-hmm.
And they grow their mushrooms in clean, sterile conditions.
Mm-hmm.
They process them in a way so they don't lose any of the nutrition. They're air dried instead of freeze dried or extracts or heat dried. And then over the years, by working with universities studying the mushrooms, they've developed blends that are more effective than well, what you would buy from from a supplement. And really, the way the mushrooms works, they increase your oxygen levels up to 30%. They improve your cellular communication, so your stem cells work better. They reduce inflammation, and they have a way of uh, putting a signal, if you would, on a cancer cell so your own immune system can attack that cancer cell like it couldn't before.
Mm.
And so they have a great product. They've been in business for about 15 years, and it all started with um, Alan learning that there was a university in Taiwan that was doing research with, different medicinal mushrooms with lab animals, and that they were having good results with cancer. And so he sought around the world and found other universities, and they collaborated and did some human trials and found out how effective it was. And so, yeah,
I
so
know.
that's
I know we have to
becoming
be. I know in our country they're very very careful with telling anyone about the benefits, but I do know that the mushrooms have a lot of benefits even for brain health, with
right,
lion's
right,
mane, reishi for immune, and I do believe a lot of these immunicycle things are so helpful. I know that
right.
they say that the mushroom is not. Um, Animal kingdom, plant kingdom, it's something like between. It's between the two, which has a comfort in our bodies. I also had bought coffee with mushroom extract in it, which was kind of interesting. So, did
Right.
they
And
do other kinds of products?
I've
Yeah.
had some of that, and just to see what it's like, I bought
Yeah.
some mushroom supplements that are a blend. And but the ones that mushroom produces are a blend of lion's mane, turkey tail, reishi, cordyceps, and a couple others. Those are the primary ones. And one thing that they found is making them more effective is they grow them on sterile vegetable substrates. So,
Okay.
not compost or
Right,
wood
right.
or whatever. So they're more pure, but that changes the nutrition of the mushrooms.
Yeah.
It's like a human.
Yes,
You are
yes.
what you eat.
Yeah.
And so
Thing.
feeding the mushrooms more nutritious substrate makes them have better qualities for healing.
Very interesting. So if they wanted to look into that supplement, I imagine that you're very involved in that company. How would they like get to the right spot for you? Would they have to go directly there, or maybe you can even send me a link and I'll put it in the description so they
I
can get to your page for that?
Right. That they can look at a website or contact me directly. We can put my contact information
Perfect.
in
Okay.
this. So
Okay.
that's the best way because I
Yes.
really like when people are inputting, I really like to find out what their interest is. Do they have
Yeah.
are they just interested in keeping healthy? Do they have a medical condition that they're attempting
Mhm.
to resolve without pharmaceuticals? Or what,
Right.
why are they asking about this? Yeah.
Right. And I think it's good to have your knowledge base to guide them because sometimes when you buy something, people buy a bunch of things and then you're not really sure like what the benefit is, but I think when they talk to you, they'll be better able to be guided for what they might need or not need, or, you'll be able to guide them better than just buying something off the shelf, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let me see what else you have here. Um, Oh, restoring class. Oh, that's okay. This is something I'm learning. So, camping, hiking, restoring classic cars, and adventuring with your chocolate lab. This is awesome. So, where have you camped?
Oh, um, quite a bit in as I was growing up in Michigan.
Michigan. Okay.
A few of the national parks.
Okay.
I lived in the San Diego area for much of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and so we would camp, go camping frequently at the Colorado River or out in
Okay.
the Glamis sand dunes during
Yeah.
the winter time, and then in the Sierras. Uh,
Nice.
did do some camping. One of my first projects out of engineering school was a large hydroelectric project in Pakistan.
Oh, wow.
And so I lived in Pakistan for a couple of years. And when we could get a long weekend, we would go up into the Himalayas
Mm-hmm.
and take our Land
Wow.
Rovers up in the mountains and camp. Pakistan had some nice guest houses, so
Mm-hmm.
they weren't fancy. They were
Yeah.
just shelter, but it's like
Oh,
camping. So
that's
yeah,
interesting.
so
Oh, that is so interesting. Yeah, I do. I like the outdoors quite a bit, but I've never like wilderness camped once, but not where there's animals that can kill you, like the eating bears that you have back in the
mhm.
parts of the country. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me think what I was going to ask you about here. So you have a chocolate lab. Is that the one you still have now that you walk with, or you have a golden now, you told me?
Yes, no, no. He's my fourth lab. He was 14 earlier this month, and he's in
Okay.
pretty good health.
Good.
And I give him some of the same supplements that I take, which I think is
That's pretty funny.
has helped him. But yeah, he's the fourth lab, and he's the oldest one I've
Yeah.
ever been able to keep. So
That's awesome. They really get you busy though, because I find, you can't just sit around when you have a dog. They want to walk, so you have to walk. And
yeah.
I don't know, I heard somewhere on one of the courses I was taking, it says go for a walk with your dog, even if you don't have one, you know. So it's true. It keeps you going. Okay. What do you do now for fun and entertainment?
Um, I like to hike. I like to get out in nature. South Carolina's got a lot of state parks with beautiful hiking trails, and you get up more towards the mountains, towards Greenville and Spartanburg. There's a lot of the trails along rivers
Nice.
with waterfalls.
Yeah.
Still like to bicycle. I've been in South Carolina for a couple years. My classic cars are still in storage out in San Diego, but I
Okay.
like to go to car shows,
Yeah.
watch movies occasionally, but as
Hmm.
much get out in nature as much as I can. My work, I'm most of the time I'm in front of the computer like many of us are nowadays.
Hmm.
So getting outside as much as I can is
Yeah.
important for
I think
not
it's
only
so
our physical
cool.
health, but our mental health as well.
It is. I think it's so healing. People don't realize how different it is. Like you can exercise indoors or go for a walk, and I always would choose to go for a walk because when you're outside, just the earth and the ground and the air, everything just
Hmm.
revitalizes you. And I think we're meant to do that, and we don't do it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
One thing that Dr. Amen says is for people with depression, especially if it's mild depression,
Mm-hmm.
that a proper diet, a
Mm-hmm.
30-minute walk in nature,
Mm-hmm.
and the right supplements like omega-3s
Mm-hmm.
are as or more effective than a pharmaceutical for the depression.
Yeah, I love that. And I do know that it's also the way your perception, mindset, and just Thank God I'm a very positive person because my dad was an optimist, a very
Hmm.
positive. So I think a lot of it is just ingrained in me to look at the bright side. But thank goodness, because in life, when you have a upbeat attitude and you could kind of see the lesson behind things, it really helps you to maintain that happiness throughout whatever you go through in life. And thank God,
Right.
I've been hardwired for that, but not everybody is, and I think
No,
where it's so hard for people.
exactly. And,
Yeah.
mindset is so important in all aspects of our life. But, when people ask me, what's the most important thing in staying healthy as you get older and,
Mm-hmm.
preserving your vitality and your longevity. And as I learned more and got more experience, I've decided the single most important thing in our wellness is mindset.
Yeah.
And think of it, how many people think that as they get older, they're going to be subject to Alzheimer's or, weight gain or Parkinson's or heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
And just because that's what happens when you get older, well, it doesn't have to happen that way.
No.
And because they, well, my dad and all of his brothers and my grandfather died of a heart attack, so I'm going to get a heart attack. Well, there may be a genetic connection there,
Mm-hmm.
but even if there is, it should be a wake-up call, not a death sentence.
Yeah.
And it's probably small compared to what you can do. One example Dr.
Yeah.
Amen gives is I mean, he's late 60s, early 70s. He's small build, but he's healthy. He's a
Mm-hmm.
healthy, good, healthy weight. And he talks about all his brothers and sisters being obese.
Huh.
And they're obese because they have the mindset that obesity runs in the family and
Right.
they won't listen to him on how to eat
Of course not.
properly and
His own
exercise.
family.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, even if you have the gene that predisposes you to memory loss as you get older, you can reduce the potential of getting Alzheimer's by 80%. And
Yes.
that gene may be present in 10 to 20% of the population. So
Yeah.
you can really change it, and it can happen. It won't happen overnight. Memory loss starts 20 to 30 years before the symptoms are
Mm-hmm.
really experienced.
I was thinking when you're mentioning that, the work of Bruce Lipton and epigenetics, how
Mhm.
when you have this thing in your DNA, it could be switched on by an unhealthy lifestyle or remain dormant. Just like in
Mhm.
your body, we always have cancer cells. Our body gets rid of them. So it depends on the environment of the cells of your body as well as mindset, what you're eating, what you're doing, that can
Right.
either click on something or click it off. Because they say positive people they fare better through everything, even disease and anything else that comes along. They have a better chance of survival just by basis of what they're doing and what they're thinking and how they're
Right.
treating their body than most people would.
Exactly. I mean, if you search for it, do some searches on the internet, you can find countless stories of people that have healed themselves of many
Many things.
diseases
Yeah.
by mindset.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes, I certainly agree. I know that you also do some work with like service work. So what's some of the service work? You said you build homes for families facing hardship. So that's really cool. Tell me about your some of the service work you've done.
um, uh, with a couple different organizations. One, when I was out in San Diego, my church had a group that would go to Baja California, Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
down by Cabo San Lucas, and help families with the church they were associated with, fixing up, repairing a roof or helping them build a house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd done that 2 or 3 times. And I worked with an organization. I went down once with an organization called Homes of Hope, but it was through the YWAM, Youth with a Mission.
Mm-hmm.
organization, which is global. And they have a program where they'll get they like to have 15 or 20 people. They
Mm-hmm.
have a campus where they house them, and they will build a complete house for a family in a weekend.
Wow.
I've done that once, and then what I've been doing more lately, and I'm overdue to help get the funds raised, but through an organization called Mission in Motion in Longview, Texas, we go to Belize, the capital city of Belmopan, and work with a rural church and build houses for the people that go to that church that
Oh, that's
either
fun.
are living in shacks or really don't have their own home.
Yeah.
And with some pre-planning and half a dozen guys will build a house for them in a week.
Yeah.
And it's not fancy. They usually have electricity, but most of them don't have water or plumbing in their area. They're out in the rural area. And so, what we're building is basically a two-car garage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's much better than what they had. There's no mold. It's
Yeah.
dry and
Yeah.
warm and in the winter and it helps them out a lot. So the church takes care of everything for that. They just
That's
hand them the keys
wonderful.
when it's built.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. See what else? Okay. So, what kind of people do you resonate with?
Um, peop I can resonate with a lot of people.
I was going to say, you seem
People with
pretty
a good
open-minded.
people with a positive mindset, a good
Yeah.
outlook on life.
Uh-huh.
Nothing worse than a person that's complaining
Oh
about
my gosh, right?
something all of the time. People that are active and share my mindset about being healthy
Love
and
that.
our medical system in this country.
Love that. Yeah, so it's got to be some changes, hopefully soon. All right. Are there any last words or ways that they can contact you? So, how can they get in touch with you, Barry?
They can reach me at my email. It's Barry@barrybevier.com. So that's Barry @Barry. B is in boy, V is in Victor, IER.com. Send me an email there. I'm on LinkedIn. They can find me on LinkedIn or
Okay.
Facebook and connect there.
Great.
Uh,
Great.
and yeah, I'd love to just chat with anybody about what we're doing here because it's important for me to get this message out that we
Hmm.
can we can take our health into our own hands and have a much more fulfilling, vibrant life by being healthy. I'd
Beautiful.
like to help people avoid what happened to us because we didn't know what was happening to my wife from
Yeah.
the pharmaceuticals.
Mm,
Um, and then I guess one last thing before I run out of time, but
mm.
I applied and was accepted to be a part of a brand new program that Dr. Amen is rolling out through churches and other organization across the country called Whole Four. And
Okay.
if people are familiar with the Daniel plan that he was part of with Rick Warren at Saddleback Church in Southern California, it's along that concept, but it's much more in depth with brain health, and it combines brain health and overall body health, mental health, spiritual health, and community. And so I'm one of 80 people that's going to help roll out the pilot program in the next few
Nice.
weeks
Exciting.
and help develop what the final program will really be.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, I hope
And
people will reach
so
out. That's exciting.
I'm excited about that. And if
Yeah,
anybody's interested, in their, either in a community group or at their church, I can direct them to the right people and see if they could get involved too, if they'd really like to.
beautiful. Okay, so thank you so much for your time today. That's been just wonderful. And this is the Lightwalker's Path. Please reach out to Barry and please reach out to me for workshops, sessions, one-to-ones, and more. So thank you so much for the blessing of your time, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Rosemary. I really appreciate it. You have a great weekend.
You too.